Hey guys, it is Miss Puett, and I am out today on a field trip, but do not worry, I will be here tomorrow, I swear. Apologize for being gone yesterday. My daughter woke up at midnight and didn't go to sleep till 4, and I got no sleep, so I do apologize for that. Anyways, though, so we're actually going to be learning something while I'm out today, and sometimes I make these video lessons just so you guys can keep learning in the classroom while I'm out, just so it's, we're not falling behind. So what we're going to be learning about today involves inequalities and context, and then we're going to be starting review tomorrow, which is Wednesday, review Thursday, and then we'll have a test on Friday. So the days are kind of prolonged just to make sure you guys do understand everything, and like I said, we'll have 2 days to review for your test. So the last day of new information starts here. For the prior knowledge, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and do this at the top of your page right now, each of these questions. So go ahead and put the video on pause so you can solve them, and then once you're done, go ahead and press play and we'll start right back. Alrighty, so at this point you should have solved each of those inequalities, so there's no graphing you have to worry about. But if you were going to be solving this, you'd want to add the 27 to each side first, kind of like what I'm doing right here. So I have 3c, and then that's going to be greater than or equal to 8 and 7 is 15. Oh, here we go. 15. Okay. And 2, 3, 4, so 45. Okay. So then after dividing both sides by 3, you're going to have c is greater than or equal to 15. So on that first one, c is greater than or equal to 15. Okay. On the second one, you want to subtract 6 first, like so. So that'll leave you with 2/3 f less than 12 minus 6, which is 6. So in order to isolate f, or get the variable by itself, you have to remember to multiply by the reciprocal. So if you multiply by 3/2 to each side, that means that your 3's will cross cancel, your 2's will cross cancel, and you're just left with f less than, and you can multiply the 6 times your numerator and then divide by your denominator. So what I mean by that is 6 times 3, which is 18, divided by 2, therefore f is less than 9. So that should be the final answer on problem number 2. Okay, so moving right along into the lesson, title for today's notes is Solving Inequalities in Context. So go ahead and add that to your paper and put it on pause right now. Okay, so going back to inequalities. Inequalities, can you guys say inequality, please? Perfect. So an inequality is a statement that compares two expressions that are not strictly equal by using one or more of the following inequality signs. So these are actually pretty important for today. So these keywords you're seeing underneath each inequality is really going to help you set up your word problems. So if you need to add any special notes, you go ahead and do that now. Okay, so whenever we're solving them, we're going to be solving these just like we had solved a lot of the word problems with equations. So I always like to identify the important information first, which is just underlining keywords. So keywords that you had just seen in the box previously on the last slide, those types of things, those are going to be the things that you really want to emphasize and really want to underline or highlight. And then once we write the inequality and solve it, we of course have to write the answer as a complete sentence. So make sure you're doing that today as well. Okay, so this one we're going to go ahead and do together. So Ryan is a wrestler trying to make weight. He currently weighs 200 pounds. If he cuts 2 pounds per week, how many weeks will it take for him to weigh less than 175 pounds? So what I'm thinking here is I'm thinking his current weight. So his current weight is 200 pounds. So the 200 pounds seems like it's a pretty big deal. I should be underlining that. So he's cutting 2 pounds per week. So that means that that 2 has to be attached to that variable. And you want to know how many weeks will it take him to weigh less than 175 pounds. So less than is definitely a key word here. So what I would probably do is I'd probably start with 200. And he is trying to cut 2 pounds per week. That would be subtracting 2 pounds per week. And less than, remember less than points to the left. So this is the left it's pointing to. and then 175. Okay, so go ahead and pause so you guys can add that right now. All right, so if I'm going to be solving the inequality, I know that I usually want to see a variable on the left-hand side. Even though it's negative, I'm not really going to worry about that right now. So I want to first move the 200 pounds to the other side of the equation, like so. So then I'll bring down my minus 2w is less than 175 minus 200, so that'll be a negative 25 pounds. So don't worry about that negative right now, because if you notice here, you have a negative 2w. So kind of going back, we had done things before, we had to not only divide by the 2, but the negative 2 on each side. So the negatives cross off, 2 crosses off, and I'm going to stop for a second, because there's one last thing I have to do. So go ahead and think about what that would have to do. Well, hopefully you were saying to flip the inequality. That's exactly what you want to do. Whenever you divide or multiply by a negative number, you want to flip the inequality. So in that case, it's going to go like this, and then that will end up giving you positive 12.5. So what this is actually saying here is W. So W is greater than 12.5. So that means for weeks, you're looking at answering the context problem now. So how many weeks will it take him to weigh less than 175? So it'll take more than 12.5 weeks. Okay, next one. Okay, so a taxi charges a flat rate of $2.50 plus an additional $1.50 per mile. If Erica has at most $19, at most, there we go, to spend on the cab ride, how far could she travel? So a lot of things going on here too. First thing is the taxi is charging a flat rate of $2.50, so I knew $2.50 is that flat rate, plus an additional $1.50 per mile. So this is right here, this is telling you that's where the variable is going to have to be attached to. So $1.50 per mile. So she has at most $19. So that means she does not have any more than 19. 19 is the maximum amount that she has. So this is actually implying it's going to have to be a less than or equal to 19. Because again, 19 is the most she has, so she can spend no more than it. That's why it's less than or equal to. All right, so once you set it up like this, it's actually not too bad. There are some decimals, but I will let you guys use calculators for the sake of time to go ahead and get rid of these decimals. If you want, you can use your phone calculator. I'll let you use that. Okay, so we'll have $16.50. So when we divide, I want you guys to think if we need to flip the inequality around now. Okay, so the answer is no, we do not flip the inequality because you're not multiplying or dividing by a negative. Exactly. So once you divide those, and again, you can use your calculator, that's fine, you'll get m is less than or equal to 11. So that means that, let's see, okay, so the question is, how far could she travel? So she could only travel at maximum 11 miles. So there's a lot of different ways you can word this. The way that I'm going to say it is, she can travel no more than 11 miles. Okay, perfect. So this one's you try, so go ahead and solve it by yourself and go ahead and put it on pause. Okay, so she wishes to save at least $1,200 in 15 months. I'm sorry, $1,500 in 12 months. So I know $1,500 is the maximum that she wants. If she saved $300 during the first 4 months, what's the least possible average amount that she must save in the remaining months? So out of those 4 months, she has saved 300. So the difference between 12 and 4 makes 8. So there are 8 more months that she has left. So the least possible average amount that she must have, so least possible means she has to be able to have more than $1,500 because she's trying to save at least that much money. So you can see at least here, and then least possible average means that's the lowest amount that she actually wants to have. She wants more than the 1,500. So when we solve it, okay, and then once we divide the 1,200 by 8, 150. So that means that what's the least possible average amount that she must save? So she must save at least $150 per month. Okay, so this one's a with me. So this one's a little bit trickier. Allison practices her violin for at least 12, there we go, keyword, at least 12 hours per week. Dang it, there you go. She practices for 3/4 of an hour. So that means not the full hour, but 3/4 of an hour. If she has already practiced 3 hours this week, how many more sessions must remain for her to meet or exceed her weekly practice goal? So 12 hours, that's the lowest amount of hours that she can practice because it says at least. So that means that she wants at least 12, so 13, 14, anything more than 12 is preferred. So she practices for 3/4 of an hour. So that looks like a fraction. 3/4 of an hour. And she has already practiced 3 hours this week, plus 3. So the inequality should actually be a greater than or equal to, because again, you want more than 12 hours. Anything more is great. So we would just simply subtract the 3 first. Okay, and then we multiply by the reciprocal. So the 4s, 3s. So we can multiply the numerator with the whole number. 9 times 4 is 36, divided by 3. So h is greater than or equal to 12. There we go. So the question, how many more sessions remain for her to meet or exceed her goal? That means that there are at least 12 more sessions she needs to meet or exceed her goal. So I'm not going to write that as a sentence because I'm running out of time, but again, she needs at least 12 more sessions to meet or exceed her goal. So here's the U-try. Go ahead and pause it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly solve it. So at least greater than or equal to 15, she practices for 1/3 an hour each session, and she's already practiced 6 hours. So 1/3 h, subtract 6. Let's see, 7, yes, 7. Nope, 8. Sorry, 9. Slow, long day today. So times 3, there we go. H greater than or equal to 27. There we go. So how many more sessions remain for her to meet or exceed her goal? So she needs at least 27 more sessions. Okay, last ones. So 6 more. So 6 more, then 2 times a certain number is less than the number increased by 20. Find all the numbers that satisfy that condition. Okay, so this looks pretty easy. Subtract the n. Okay, subtract the 6. Okay, so that means that any number less than 14 satisfies the condition. And this is the last one.